trying this live stream as discussed in a couple of my earlier test videos. I'm not going to be able to say much until we determine what world we're on. This is starting from scratch with the day 1 patch applied, and although I don't see any worlds with names yet, there we go. Okay, so we do know we have the day 1 patch applied. I'm not going to be able to do much explanation of my approach here, which differs from most streams, until we see our starting status. If I'm on an extremely toxic or dangerous world, I'm going to have to secure my my exosuit really quickly. I'll do that then before settling back to say more about what I'm doing a little bit differently. First we need to see where we stand. So let's find out. Oh, this is interesting. It says overall progress is unaffected. So I wonder, you know, I actually ended my last test having gathered a bunch of materials and also having just died. We're going to see if this starts from scratch. And I also want to check and make sure that this is streaming. So first, actually I'm not going to hit accept yet because I'll bet my my suit isn't depleting. Instead, I'm going to go check my setup in the other room, make sure that I'm actually streaming. Let's take a look. Ah, looks like I am. That's awesome. Good. Okay. Let me check something out here. I'm gonna grab the stream, copy it. Okay. So, yeah, for, you know, sorry, I just had to set up something on my stream. Watching these later, these videos are going to be, you know, I think I can do a little bit of explanation before I start. These videos are going to be a little bit different from many that you may have seen. I'm a different kind of player in the sense that I'm not a gamer. I am an explorer at heart, and I have sort of different priorities for, you know, what I love in games that do catch my attention. My goal with these videos is partly I wanted to just record, you know, my first hours or whatever with a game I was excited about, explain a little about why I was excited about it, record that for my own, you know, purposes, my own for posterity, whatever. Record it so friends could eventually hear references to them. But also because there may be others out there curious about this game, but also a bit confused about it and about who the heck could love it when the mechanics are wonky, and reviews are almost unanimous in saying that many of the game mechanics are wonky. I'll talk about those a little, but one of the biggest things I'm going to be doing is what I'll call here is a kind of world building that we'll call deductive world building. We're going to try and take everything we encounter in the world at face value, as a given, as a story element, as a plot element, and see what conclusions that leads us to about the story, about the lore. We're going to test the idea that this game creates an environment for us to develop our own story by doing this. And by taking things as a given, I mean things like how dependent I am on my suit and my technology, the fact that I don't eat, the fact that the number of alien races I run into are limited in number, the fact that their architecture is quite limited, a number of things we're going to find out. So another thing this tells you is that I'm not concerned about spoilers. I've spent the last couple of days watching a few really good streams out there, and I've actually linked some of them in a separate playlist I have of live streams. And so I know a few things I want to make sure and do, situations I want to avoid, and I'm going to do those things. I've familiarized myself a little bit with the controls by playing through the first part of the disc version, and we'll find out in a minute whether that means I already have a bunch of supplies on hand. But this isn't meant to be a from scratch that is, you know, someone learning the tools and sort of reviewing or evaluating it as a game mechanics review. This is an explorer diving in and exploring while at the same time testing this idea of deductive world building. So we're going to get going. We're going to see what our situation is, and then I'll just say a little more and a lot more as we go. Good way to enjoy a day off of work and a weekend, exploring a game that I've been excited about for a long time, and testing an idea, which is that at least half of our enjoyment of a story, if a creator has left an evocative work behind, at least half of that story comes from imbuing it with our own imagination, our own ideas and thoughts, and seeing where the evidence in the story leads us. We're going to approach this a little bit as if we were watching a movie, and I'm going to refer to us as we. I'm going to refer to our character as we. You know, our suit is low. We are looking for this resource or that resource. We're wondering why that. We can deduce from this X, Y, Z. Because the real character, it seems to me, is the myriad of explorers, all separate, even in separate instances. We'll talk about that a little bit, of the game world, of the story world. I'll call it a story world as often as I can. All right, so let's get going. Let's see what our situation is, and therefore how much leeway we have to talk just yet. Okay. So the debris is untouched, and the site. Yep. Okay, so this is starting from scratch, most definitely. Well, we don't yet. We've got a bit of wind. We don't yet have any alerts on our suit's condition, but let's take a look at this piece of debris. A distress beacon. Reality seems to fold in on itself. One moment I can see debris, in another a vast red orb, almost too large and too bright to behold. It knows me, inside and out, more than I ever could myself. Could this be the face of creation itself? Or, in my hazy, freshly awakened state, am I being manipulated? A name burns itself into my mind, Atlas, and a request made without words that I should follow the path this being, this Atlas, has set for me. Now I'm going to follow the Atlas path, and part of that comes from watching a few people fail to do that and fail to reach a number of resources that open doors later on. So already I'm, kind of metagaming a little bit. One of the resources I'm using in this exploration is IGN's wiki for No Man's Sky, and I will use the guide for accessing the Atlas Pass as we go. And the first step in that process is to choose this path. We won't really do much more with it until we've made a few warp jumps, but I am going to pick this path. I hope in the future the game expands so that other paths become equally as rich as the Atlas path. So I feel drawn, we feel drawn to accept this invitation, and we'll think about that more as we go. Our connection to this entity, to this Atlas, is very, very strong. the first time we die, we're going to see something else about that, in fact. But for now, we are simply going to accept that path. Try to anyway. Oh, I see. Right. I feel suffused with the warm glow of approval. I was lost, but now I'm found. The Atlas acknowledges my allegiance. And a lot of those clips go by too quickly, which is a bummer. Okay, it's 3 degrees Celsius. I don't have a cold... It's windy, but I don't have a cold indicator. So we're going to see how we're doing here. Let's take a look at the damaged machinery here. New technology discovered. And that uses a number of resources that I'm going to need in order to do that. Also, another thing I need to bring up here is I have a tool that I'm using to track my progress, or actually to track the number of times I encounter certain storyworld concepts. One second, what I'm doing is typing in the URL for that, so it's not going to be very exciting for you. Aha. All right. 75%. Okay. So that's going to have to be the first thing we fix. Okay. All right. 75%. Remdirt's Botan is the world I am on. Okay, let's check. Gathering some materials here. In order to mess with this debris, I would need the Atlas Pass. I do not have it, and that's part of the reason I took the Atlas path. So we're going to try to start our ship, and what we'll discover that's interesting. It's not actually telling me much about what I discover, but it's essentially not working. Aha! So there's a save. Okay. I need to find out more about this suit. So in order to charge it, I need resources. And this is something that we're going to do over and over and over again. In order to collect these resources, I need to mine them and gather them with this tool, which is called a multi-tool. And so I'll do that to make sure that I'm, okay for the moment. A lot of that's going to be carbon because my exosuit seems to use it. I think what I'll do is this. When I say I'll be speaking as a player, and a player with a certain amount of knowledge who's metagaming as we go to set up our situation. When I say we, we'll be exploring as, let's call this character Nomen, for No Man's Sky. So we're a Nomen, Nomen Akaraza. That is me. But together we're the Nomen, and that's what I'm going to mean when I say we. All right. I believe, you start this out, we start out not knowing what we're doing, except that we need to fix our equipment, and we need to make sure our suit doesn't die and we don't die. So, first order of business, honestly, I'm thinking is going to be to find shelter. And let's take a look around. Make sure I don't fall off a cliff or something like that. Be careful as I'm exploring. What I'd like to find near here is, that is very interesting. I have graves about. That is very interesting. So that means I have died. I wonder. That's really interesting, because if my graves are here, I mean, I died. So yes, I, the player. Let's say we died several times. We, the character, Nomen, died several times in the prior quantum slice of this world. We're probably going to make our way to that grave. If nothing else, simply hearing that it's there is intriguing to me. So we might make our way that direction. But we've got other things we need to do, like make sure we have the materials to keep our suit running. So We will do that as much as we can. Again, what I'm wanting to find is nearby shelter. So that's my first order of business. I'm hoping there's a cave right nearby, and that's why I'm exploring to see. Oh, I see, I'm out of breath. You know, this really may be... This is interesting. I don't know. Certain aspects of this seem familiar. I don't remember if the name of the world was the same. I, the player, don't remember. So I'm mining for different resources as I go. And it's going to take a while, isn't it? Maybe not worth it until I need it. So we have a few tools. We know how to use them. That gives us some capability to make our way. I believe our ship is right around the bend. I still don't see any easy shelter. Yeah, there's our ship. Okay. So we're going to need to get back there, but we're going to need to gather a lot more before we can do that. I'm going to make my way towards that grave because we have certain tools in place. We have this suit and we are very dependent on it. We also, by the way, see these entities circling around, these robotic creatures, scanning the environment. We don't yet know much about them. They have not yet threatened us. They have not yet expressed any interest in us. So we're going to leave them alone for now, and it seems for the moment they're going to leave us alone. And we're going to make our way towards this grave. And as we go, we're going to keep our eyes open for shelter if we need it. So far we're not in too bad a shape, aside from the fact that's interesting. I can't run at the same time as my inventory is open, but I don't believe the world is paused. At any rate, we'll need to get in the habit of recharging our tools. We have three aspects to ourselves. We have our ship, which is damaged and which needs repair. If we examine its aspects, we see that we need a few different things like thamium, elements, isotopes, elements really. Thamium-9 is one of them, and plutonium is another. And we also have, as part of our being, we have really three main components at the moment: our suit, our starship, and a device called our multi-tool, which we've been using to mine. If we examine that, it's damaged, but we have carbon, and now we have enough carbon that we can repair it, and indeed we did. Currently, we need to do a lot of maintenance on these aspects of our being. It becomes habit because it's all we know, but as it's a technology, one thing we're going to watch for are other technologies that make it a little bit easier. It would be nice to have a tool that recharged and reloaded some of that material for us. Alright, I'm making my way once again towards this grave. I don't know how far away it is. Let's see if I can find out. "4 hours? That's fascinating. We're not going there. But we will fly there before we leave the planet, because it's rather intriguing to um, you know, have there be a grave around. We also, in 2 minutes, could reach something unknown over here. What else can we do with these aspects of our being? Our multi-tool, we have a beam. We've used the beam. We have a scanner. And we have a visor. One thing I'm going to go ahead and do, if I can remember how, is check my controls. I need options for that. So I'm off script in options. And I may as well point out a few things at this point now. That's fascinating. I've got saved game data from the prior version, even though the prior version was... so I'll be interested to get to that grave and see if there's a big cache of materials there, and it'll be pretty funny if there is, because I will have had to gather a bunch of them. If only I could run for 4 hours, I could do it that way, but that's pointless. Now, let me point out a couple things I've done here. I've got the music volume all the way up and the sound effects down. I don't know if that's been apparent to anyone yet. These settings are saved from my prior playthrough. I find the music in this game to be extremely evocative, and as one streamer, I think his name is Massive, pointed out, at least more than half, he said 51% of the game experience, and I would actually agree. He said sound was. The music is a large part of that, and I wanted to raise the extent to which it affected play. I'm going to leave it this way for now. You know, and I may change that later. Another thing you see I've done here, which is absolutely crazy and not a very gamery thing to do, is my mouse look sensitivity, my move look sensitivity is down as low as it can possibly go. I like to, I like smooth movements of the camera, of my avatar. I prefer it. And actually one of the best sort of experiences I've had in gaming, and this is, you know, another bit of evidence that I'm an anomaly in terms of gaming at all, is the game Uncharted 2: Among Thieves. It's a wonderfully cinematic game, but a huge part of the reason, it's for PS3, a huge part of the reason that it's so cinematic, and I will defend this opinion to the ends of the earth, is the rendering of motion blur as you look around, and inertia in camera movements and motions. And that means when you move the camera in a certain direction and stop, it doesn't just jerk to a stop. It gives you a slight bit of organic give when, you know, when the camera stops. Most games now are afraid to implement such cinematic tools, and I'm going to call them what they are. I mean, they're cinematic ways of rendering cinematically. Motion blur is something I will defend to the ends of the earth, and the biggest piece of evidence I put forward to that is how, if you take a computer animated movie or story, like any of the Pixar movies, or the excellent animated series Clone Wars, or to a certain extent Rebels, you will see that motion blur is rendered into, baked into the rendered scenes. And that is because the eye, as we view things, sees blur as we do so. But you know what we're going to do is we're actually going to take a step back, because one thing I had said is that we're going to take absolutely everything in the game environment as an element in the story world, as a given, and extrapolate from there. So one thing that we know looking around this world is when we move and look, there's a mechanistic snap to our movements, and a chunkiness to things as they move by, almost as if our environment is somehow being rendered. So maybe that is an artifact of our visor. Maybe it's some aspect of our exosuit. We're certainly Noman, the main character of this story, We are very dependent upon our technology. We do not even know yet what we look like at all if we could survive without it. We may never learn that, but certainly most of the ways we interact with this world are through our technologies. And so far, we've seen that those technologies filter our environment a lot. So we are going to consider that a plot element. Okay, anyway, just to not drive people crazy, I will turn this up a little bit. We'll turn it up to 10, and we'll try that from there. I'm going to go to my controls because I needed to check on how I think I was trying to remember how to scan. And that's Starship Control. No, that's Starship Controls. Is that right? Secondary fire, show, heads up, melee attack, switch weapon, jump, reload, run. It doesn't seem like I can scan yet. And I need to figure out why. I think I need to repair that thing. And then the rest is our log, our journey log. Okay. So we're going to return to our environment. All right, so yes, as we look around, there is a bit of a synthetic sheen to everything that we see. And in fact, if we look at the upper edges, upper left and upper right edges of our visor, we can see, in fact, let me line it up. Do you see the edge of the right-hand cactus, how there's a bit of a blue shadow to it, or a blue halo to it? It's as if, and you can see scan lines in our visor as well. It's as if some aspect of our visor is highly synthetic. Our analysis visor is highly synthetic, and it's affecting everything that we see. We do not know how much of an organic being, if there is an organic being in us. We haven't had to eat. We've simply had to recharge our life support. So we're going to run with that. We're going to take that as a given. We're going to actually, we need to look at our hazard protection. Seems that we are perfectly charged. Life support is relatively charged. What we need is, I'm getting sidetracked. My coffee's definitely kicking in. So, scanner, press, aha, that's a totally different button. How weird. That's strange. It's definitely different, and I'm not sure. I don't remember what it replaces, but I'm not sure that it's better. Oh no, see? Yeah, press. God. So press to scan. If I accidentally keep it pressed down, I will accidentally dismantle the thing. So that's some confusing UI design right there as a player, I'll say. I think a lot of these problems with the game mechanics, with balance, with the UI are things that they're going to fix. I think every gaming reviewer knows that. In a way, it's a shame that reviews need to come out so quickly when the first versions of a game to come out are obviously going to be the shakiest. It'll be really interesting to see how No Man's Sky evolves over time, how content is added, and what becomes of that, and to play through it again and extrapolate the story world from the changes that occur. So anyway, hold L2 to operate. Let's take a look. No active technology in multi-tool. That's odd. That's interesting. Okay, good. At least there's our scan. Tell you what. Scanner recharging. Look around. We need to find a few things. Tell you what. We don't know... Oh, that jerkiness is deeply annoying. I swear, I can't... Let's go this direction because it's less distance away. Oh, okay, there's a structure there. I, as a player, as someone trying to figure out this story world, I don't feel like we can possibly have an organic neck with the jerkiness of movement that we seem to have when we stop moving our neck. So that, to me, is a data point. Oh, come on. Shoot. All right. Oh, that's great. So, trial and error. Always a part of exploration. I'm not going to worry about those for now. I feel like my situation is a bit fragile. Wow. The change in the scan button is takes some getting used to. Ugh. So here's another thing that would differentiate me from most gamers: my kingdom for an auto aim. Here's, you know, to me as a player, it's not interesting to see how well I can master the controls and how quickly I can aim at something. If it makes sense for me to, you know, hit something with practice, then once I've given it enough practice, I would like to be able to do that without having to think about it all the time. Plus, if I'm a technological creature, some aspects of that should be built into, you know, into my design. Maybe eventually I'll find an auto-aiming gun, and if I do, I tell you this, oh wait, interact. I'll absolutely buy the thing without a single bit of hesitation, or a moment's, you know, regret. So there are some creatures over here, and there is also over here, I believe this is plutonium. Yes, plutonium, which I believe I need for my one of my engines. I'm not going to get too close to these guys for now, but I am going to try to scan, because one thing I haven't figured out is how to, and I'm probably just going to have to look up on the game guide, is how to index creatures. Okay, I don't know what that is yet. So, here is some kind of a base. So, and we see ships. And we think to ourselves, can we signal them? Might they come and rescue us? Where are they from? Where are they going? Were we like them? But first we're going to cautiously go in here. And this appears to be abandoned. We're going to examine this. Scanner's detection range is increased. A powerful output modulator filters local information from an increased distance into the user's visualization systems. That's an interesting phrase, isn't it? The user's visualization systems. You know, we've been noting that we are, oh good, we're getting plenty of thamium. We need platinum and carbon. Operates automatically once constructed. That's good. That's, you know, that automation is something that I hope is we run into more often, because I think it's you know, I think it's pretty handy. And the less, if we are a technological creature, if we are a technological character, perhaps some kind, well, you know, I as a player, if I were watching this as a movie, that's what deductive world building to me is about. If I'm watching this as a movie and taking everything I see given, that's going to suggest to me certain probabilities and realities. Right now, honestly, I, as a viewer of this as a movie, would be guessing that I am, if I had to, you know, place money on it, I would guess that we were, at the very least, some kind of a, at the very least, something akin to a droid, an artificial being. If we are a biological creature, then it seems right now, so far, from any evidence I have, I can see as a cinematic viewer in this story world, it seems we are extremely dependent upon our technology. Perhaps to the point of being embedded in it. You know, could we survive without our life support suit in this kind of environment? Maybe we'll learn more about that. We'll see. Okay, so we'll take a look in our inventory. It will show up automatically once we have the materials. I'm not going to worry about those for now. Although, I guess they'd be handy. But I need carbon anyway. I think the other thing was platinum, so maybe I'll keep my eyes peeled for platinum. We'll see. Ships over there. What's this? Fuel launch thrusters. Return to your starship. Why does it want me to do that? Oh good, platinum. I find it fascinating that some things I interact with manually and some things I need to gather. There's a... We'll take a look at this fellow, let him look at us. One reason I like my sensitivity to be low is so that I can manage smoother camera moves, because I like to kind of dolly around objects. Is this... There's a display on the outside of this pod. Nothing. That's so intriguing to us that there is a grave visible on our scanner. What do we have here? Bypass chip required. Alright, something to remember. Bypass chip. I'm actually going to add that to my... I have a little log of plot elements, and oh, that's too bad. Let's try this again. Okay. Anyway, apologies. I'm not going to worry too much about gaps in this log where you don't know what I'm doing, partly because you know, it's not like I have a bunch of subscribers that I'm monetizing and trying to please. Primarily, I'm trying to, and that's also why, well, part of the reason why, you know, it's not set up so that I can see chat or respond to your ideas of what I should name creatures or planets or whatever. I'm playing, so we find this interesting that the other pod, oh, that's really interesting. We find it interesting that the other pod was wrecked, abandoned, and things in there were tipped over, disheveled, and this one is quite clean and tidy. We find that very interesting indeed. In fact, immediately what we think is, in a pinch, this is home. It is not far from our ship. It is clean and tidy. And we feel a strange sense of comfort being in such an orderly, technologically sealed environment. And we find it very fascinating. Again, we ponder the fact that just next door to us is one that is disheveled. And we wonder how that happened and why that happened. But first we are going to take a look at this table. Oh. Huh. It is not doing anything, but this is. It's a pity we can't sit there. Anyway, we wonder how quickly this refreshes. Not just yet, but we'll see when we come back. Yes, we have found a home base. Certainly much more sheltered than our ship, but not far away at all. Okay, so what we're going to do is continue exploring this site. We better check the banners. Make sure we're not interlopers. Purple and black. No symbol. No, there is a slight upwards on one side. There's a slight upwards moving crest. Okay, we look at that. Oh, now we notice. Oops, that's interesting. Agaf Flats is this home base. Our very first base of operations. Gra times 1. We will take a look at that in a little bit. Gra times 2, and this case is broken. Okay, so let's take a look at this one real quick. How many are there? It's clearly that's fascinating. Fascination bead. And we will... See, I also think, oh good. You know what? I almost feel like we shouldn't even charge our life support until it reaches 50%, because then we'll have more resources to charge it up all the way, and it'll take less time. I'm not even going to worry about the starship right now. I'm still getting... We are not going to worry about the starship now because we have a base of operations. We do not need to be in a rush to get off of a planet that half hour in at least, wow, an hour in, well, just under an hour in, is not out to kill us. We can take our time and do this right, and that's what we're going to do. There's a whole galaxy to explore, but what we will find, and I'm metagaming here, going by what I've seen as I've watched people play, what we will find as we explore, as John Lennon once put it, or was it Harrison? The further one travels, the less one knows. Without looking out of your window, you can know the ways of heaven. At any rate, point is, we are blessed with a home base of operations. It's in that pod behind us. It will protect us in inclement weather. We have the time to explore in safety, figure out everything we need to figure out, explore at whatever pace we want to. So, let's recharge. Okay. So we've got a lot. This is precious and valuable. We need it for our ship. We do know that. We do know the same of this. What we have is carbon, and ironically, we don't actually have as much as we did. So we need to be collecting more carbon. So we'll do that. But first, we are going... Wait. Okay. That's interesting. Is it a light? It's a light! It's a lamp! Got it. Alright, we'll leave that on. So, save. And we think to ourselves, what does that mean, save? We've approached all of these objects, and those which our analysis visor has given us a description of. They have said things like interact. They have said, the name of the element. This over here, for instance, is plutonium, which we may as well just mine. We're doing pretty well on the plutonium, which is very happy to me as a player. Now, he's checking that out. Let's actually go over. It's checking the place where it was. There's another one. We are going to show that we mean no harm. And they are going to go about their business. We are going to be... that's another reason we're going to be slow and steady and moderate in our resource collection. We do not know who the interloper is here. We do not know if we are from here. We do not know if we belong here. We do not know if these beings belong here more than we do. We don't yet, in-game, we don't yet know their name. But when we walk up to this device, what it says to us, what our analysis visor says to us is save. In effect, this object is going to give us the ability to save our own lives. And metaphorically or otherwise, that seems like a good idea. So we're going to do it while thinking a little bit about what in the world that means. What does it mean that we can somehow save ourselves through a device? What indeed? But we have just done so. Is it some kind of a pattern buffer? And what's interesting about that is that it seemed, I'm going to do it again because it gave us a slightly widened view. It is almost as if, it's almost as if this thing is scanning this whole area. this area around us. All right, let's go over and examine this. I'm going to say I'm going to allow myself to mine up to 2 objects in a short time. Alright. We don't... What? Okay, so we are still exploring. We've got shelter. We're gathering materials we need. We're learning what we can about our world. We feel as though these entities, let's see if our advisor can tell us anything at all about them. You know, it's fascinating to me that they don't give us a description. Metagaming, I know that these are called sentinels. In-game, I do not yet know that. We're going to go this direction next. And interestingly, here's what our game plan is going to be. We have essentially established a perimeter. We have shelter, we have a home base of operations, and in fact I'm going to write that down in my log. In fact, I'm going to write it down in my, hold on, my sort of inner game log, Egaf Flats. And for the moment, I'm not going to rename that, and in fact I might not at all, because we've encountered a name. This thing has a name already. We don't know why, and we don't know who named it. But until we have a better thing and a better reason to name it something different, we're not going to concern ourselves with that. At the moment, we actually consider this to be a place of special importance, because this is the first place that awakening into this new world with no sense of who or what we are, we were allowed means to save our lives. And so we are going to capture in this log that we have discovered AEG AF FLATS. Now I know metagaming, I know that there are ways to set waypoints. Bypass chip. Good, that did record. Okay, good. I know there are ways to set waypoints. I don't know whether you can set a waypoint just anywhere, and I'm not going to worry about it just yet. Eventually I do need to learn it. Okay, so what I was saying a moment ago is that we have now a strategy. And the strategy is this. We have our safe place. We have our base of operations. We have a amazing sort of replenishing, or apparently not replenishing quickly, but maybe replenishing supply of resources that we can ultimately find the things that we're going to need to fix our ship in the fullness of time as we figure out what else we need to be doing. And we might even begin to feel that as we respect the role these I know they're called sentinels. What Noman, our character Noman, or Akaraza, I'll just call myself by my character name, Akaraza. What Akaraza calls them is another question. Let's go to our life support and recharge it with nothing but carbon. Okay. So we want to head in the direction of that mysterious grave. It is hours away. We know where our ship is. It is over here, past Agaf Flats, which is our home. Agaf Flats is home to us. The first home we've ever known. So we're going to make our way to what our analysis visor tells us is another potential place to explore, which we may reach in a minute and a half. And we're going in this direction because effectively, you know, we've set an axis, if we could map it, which actually I think a waypoint allows us to do that. So maybe I'll explore that when I reach the next spot. Because then I can... gotta get the hang of it. Then I can see where... wait, did that all gather? Maybe what we'll do is we will gather a little bit of carbon whenever we stop to interact with something else. You know, we know that we have been blessed with a way to replenish our energy, our body. It's, you know, it's funny, but it almost seems like our body, whatever that is, our systems, it almost seems as though our systems are self-replenishing so long as we provide them with the materials needed. Apparently we need more space. Oh, I did not capture that at all. Yeah, okay, I do. It's just that it's full. You know what? Alright, I'm going to metagame here because I happen to know, even though we didn't really explore it deeply in-game, I happen to know that we can transfer things to our ship. So at the moment, the main thing our ship is a glorified storage container until that time when we get back to it and find we happen to have gathered the materials we need to make it run, to make it work. So we're going to go past Agaf Flats, our home base. You know, and if we had to choose a banner for ourselves right now, out of a sense of gratitude and pride, it might even be that purple and black flag symbol that we had. In fact, what I should really do is take a picture of that thing. What am I not doing? Oh yeah. Still getting used to. That's right. I keep forgetting. All right, let's not worry about taking pictures of our home flag. Let's worry about getting our inventory out. We also don't know how much daylight we have left. Tell you what, when we get to our ship and transfer some things over, we will also snip this particular live stream. And it's also good timing in that sense too. I have traveled 10,000 feet, and it feels that way too. You know, it's funny, it didn't tell me my inventory was full with platinum. I guess because that slot still has space. Okay, that's interesting. If there's one of those, maybe there's another of those. Oh wait, that's carbon, I believe. What's that? I didn't see. What's that shield, I wonder? I as a player and we as Akaraza. Wait, is that a cave? That was never there before. Was that there before? There was shelter. Oh, this is incredible. There is shelter right by our ship. All right. Tell you what. How did I miss that? Okay, that is very exciting. I mean, this is the thing. It's going to be like... I mean, I'm going to tell you, as a player, And we, as a character, we are going to explore here a lot. We are not in any hurry to get out of here because we have everything we need to survive right here. We are thankful to be alive. We are thankful to have guidance. We might even be calling those robotic creatures guardians right now because we feel as though they might be guarding over us. We feel as though they might be looking over us in some way that's helping us find the things that we need to survive. Because we've seen one here where our ship started. We paid it due respect and it left us alone. We made our way to our first camp and we saw it there as well. But as yet they have not bothered us, and we have respected taking in due measure what we need to survive. So that's the approach we're going to take as a character right now, and as part of this story world. We do not see those as antagonists at all. In fact, we think of them as guardians at the moment. So let's take a look at our ship. What's our deal? All right. You know, metagaming, I'm going to say as a player, I was pretty sure that when I got in the ship in the disc version, in the early version, it immediately told us that it was broken and not working and how. But what we're seeing here, we're checking the devices of our ship. Pulse engine, starship flight booster, space flight propulsion boosts and on-demand pulse jumps through local systems. User is advised that Thamium-9 is required to charge pulse engine. Hold L1 and R1 together to engage pulse jump. This is going to take some trying as well. And we can do a high-speed boost as well. All right, let's try charging. We charge with Thamium-9. I feel like we have that. We do have some. But not all the way. So we're halfway there. And we have freed up, I believe, that slot. Yes, we have. So by in the process of repairing our ship, we are also freeing up space in our and space. Slots seem to be the most precious resource in this world. One of the most precious resources in this world. Metagaming, I'll say that that's a game balance problem that they're going to work out and fix, and I can absolutely understand why people have been extremely annoyed by it so far. But extrapolating for our story world, what we have deduced is that the ways in which we store and use and arrange and rearrange the resources we encounter in this world is a core part of the meaning of this world. The scarcity and abundance and the way that we organize them, or actually we're not allowed to organize them manually, but the way they almost organize themselves and reconfigure themselves as we put them together in the proper combinations is a major part of what this world is about. So let's take another look at this broken item. Can we charge it? We do have plutonium, and I believe we have enough. So, plutonium, an isotope element. It is rare, extremely powerful element. And this tells me, well, then every time I see plutonium, I'm going to want to gather some. It's extremely rare. So, I'm also in my log going to note the importance of some of the things I've gathered so far. I can't really show you this, but what it is is a little online poll that allows me to choose between two options and determine which of them is more important at any given time. By choosing the things that have come up so far as more important, I am getting a sense of relative importance over time. That did not make much sense. That's okay. For now, just think of this as a pause. Wait, actually, hold on one moment. Atlas path, exosuit, plutonium, multi-tool, explorer. Okay. So I'm gonna, okay, so a vital ingredient in the creation of many advanced technologies, components, and products found in red crystalline structures and often within planetary cave networks. Another reason to explore caves. All right. So I believe this baby is ready to go, and you know, I also need thamium 9, which is should be one of the most important things in my log, but so far I have not had a chance to prioritize it. One moment here while I do that. Life support, definitely important. Iron. Iron has not been important yet. Sentinels. We know metagaming, they're called Sentinels. We're going to call them important. Plutonium, important. Starship, important. Okay. Anyway. Alright. Is there anything else I want to transfer to my ship? So I've got this stuff. I have not used iron yet. I don't know how important it is. Another thing I as a gamer, and we as gamers, the only time I'm going to use we in that sense, and not in the character sense, really hope they do, is allow us to stack. But wait a minute, it's claiming we can stack, so what are people complaining about? Alright, I'm confused. What? Everyone's been complaining that you can't stack. This does not seem to be the case. Alright. So how do I move something? Do I click the place where I want it? I sure do. Okay. So one thing we're going to do right now is, so I'm a librarian. Me, the player, me, Heath Resbeck, I'm a librarian. I actually get pleasure out of organizing things to a certain extent. Not meaninglessly, not for their own sake, but there's something about sort of the natural order of things and discovering the natural order of things and then doing my part to help things towards their natural order as best as I'm able, that I enjoy, and that's part of my calling, part of my being, right? So one thing I like to do in games like this is if I have something like an element or a metal, I will actually move those to the lower and rightmost slots in my inventory systems, as if they are falling to the bottom of my backpack, right? Because they're heavy. And if I have things that are devices, like in a fantasy game, if it's a shield, whatever, a sword, or clothing, those float to the upper left-hand topmost layers of my inventory, because they are things. If it were a backpack, it'd be like if I had a backpack, my sunglasses are going to be on top, my brick is going to be on the bottom, right? My coins, whatever, you know, are going to be on the bottom. So I help that along as I go. I am still gathering plutonium. Here's one way one way this could help us is a mnemonic for thinking about what is important for us to be gathering right now. So we are going to put important elements that we are in the process of gathering aggressively or assertively. Let's say for now, let's say, to test out the idea, to the left bottom. So elements are going to go on the bottommost strata, but since I know I have plutonium, and I've used plutonium to fix that aspect of my ship, what I'm looking for is thamium 9, and I need a lot of it. If I had some of it, I would put it right here. In fact, I wonder almost if I can get a tiny bit of it from my ship. I can't, so I'm not going to worry about that now. But iron I haven't used. Carbon I have used a lot. Platinum I can't remember whether I've used or not. I'll tell you what, for now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to stack this gra. Now that did not work, which I find fascinating. It said move and stack, and yet it did not let me stack. Okay. For now, I will transfer this to my ship. I mean, you know, I don't know. I think these are only important. Metagaming, I'm going to say as a player, I think these are only important for trade, or mainly important for trade. As a, as the character, we have more important things on our mind right now, but not yet enough that we're going to throw these away. What we're going to do is we're going to try and save these in our ship, if we can remember or figure out how to do that. Transfer items to the ship. Okay. And we're going to do that with this too. Fascination bead. I find these fascinating. Golden metal sphere used to temporarily increase the processing power of electronic life forms. That's really interesting. Conductivity within an entity's casing is dramatically increased, resulting in faster analysis and research. Okay. As in the story world, I've put forth the hypothesis that we are synthetic creatures of some... I put forth a hypothesis that we might be technological creatures, like an android. If we were, at some point, we should be able to directly use a fascination bead. If we are not, that shouldn't be the case. Depending on the interface of our technology to our being, to the essence of our being, that item may come into more or less play. For now, we are going to move it to our ship. Okay, and shielding plate. Increased capacity energy storage unit. Promotes efficient energy storage within exosuit and starship inventories. Used in hazard protection and shield systems. Seems like eventually craft products and inventory slots. What if I click it? What happens? Nothing. I don't understand what that thing is yet. That's okay. So I will just move it to my ship for now. We will move it to our ship for now. And what we're going to do here is we are going to move our plutonium. We know plutonium is important. Move it to the leftmost bottom. We know platinum. We know carbon's important. We're going to move it. Really, to do this right, I would know the periodic table of elements and know which elements are actually heavier than the others. It would actually be kind of fun to get those in a geeky sort of way, to get a copy of the table in front of me and just look it up and see. But, I'm not going to worry about it for now. I'm going to tinker with this layout system for a while, this organizational system for a while, but we're going to move heavy elements to the bottom of our pack. Iron we have not yet found a use for. We're going to move it to our second layer. And then that's also going to remind us, I don't know, by the way, why my voice is cracking, and it's really annoying me. Anyway, so please pardon. Maybe it's because I'm talking, and it's probably going to get worse throughout the day. Iron, one thing this can do is help us if we prioritize. So if we have used an item before, it's going to, we're going to tuck it away for safekeeping. I'm trying out this idea. I'm not sold on this, but thinking through the organizational scheme, sort of the provenance, the logic behind why things are where and how they are. The things that we have not used yet, we'll put a layer above that, so they're a little bit easier to get to in a panic and toss out of our bag at absolute need. Okay, so we're pretty happy with this organizational system to start with. In fact, to get things going, I guess I could do this. No, I cannot. That's fascinating. I cannot seemingly reorder. Oh, yeah, I cannot reorder items here. We are going to recharge with our carbon. We are not going to recharge with our precious plutonium. Oops, one moment. What I was going to do is get the ship's organizational layout similarly arranged. So zinc should be, by this logic, zinc is an element. It goes low. Iron is an element. It goes in the bottom. Shielding is an intermediate device. Actually, it probably goes near the top. Launch and thrust, we cannot move. These are core systems. They are on the top. That, I can't move that. Boy, those, I tell you, those are going to go. Anyway, what we're going to do then, for now, is we're going to put those... Oh, that's... Okay, okay. So I can't swap items. I have to move them one at a time. How unfortunate. It's okay. Okay, and then this guy... Korvax Convergence Cube. This is a mystery. Korvax. We do not yet know, as characters, what that means. I, as a player, the metagamer, know a little bit about what that means. We, as a character, do not. Device used by the Korvax for the storage of historical and cultural information. That actually seems pretty important. We're going to move this to... No, it's in the right place. It's leftmost, just above... You know, it actually should be up here, shouldn't it? We need to... The logic of this is not... whoops, shoot. The logic of this is a little shaky. The logic of my organizational system has not yet been figured out, and I'll be messing with it a bit more as we go. But, you know, for now this will do. For now this will do. I've got to think it through a little more. All right, so we are in good shape. We are sheltered. We are in our ship. We have repaired what we can repair. We don't yet have our pulse engine repaired, do we? We do have it repaired. We just don't have it charged much. But I'm going to go ahead and explore the cave next. Hopefully get enough Thamium-9 to charge it up all the way. And I'm going to fly to Agraf Glade. I need to look up what it is. I'm sorry. I forgot the name of my home. Agaf Flats, our home base. I'm not going to instantly fly off to the stars because we need to suss out what's going on here some more. Anyway, for now, I'm going to cut off the live stream and I will start a new one. Let's check the time, give a sense of when that'll be. It's 8:25. Take care of a few things. Probably do that at 9 a.m. Central Time. Okay. See you then.